A lot of fundamental issues that would need to be fixed. I do, and I don't know if they can be fixed. To be honest, I mean, I really don't. I think there's some questions philosophically that I don't think anyone has answers to. So in that case, in that part of it at least, I'll agree with what Chisholm's argument was. But do I think the funding board could potentially exist? Yes.
I'm not going to sit and lecture on what my opinion is. Everyone already knows what it is, but I am going to agree with the fact that we're going to vote on this right now. Multicultural Student Center should be here. And even if they've been a part of the discussion, everyone should look at them in the face when you vote, because I think this is disrespectful. It goes back to, I hate the word transparency, but it goes back to the fact we're sitting in a room and they're downstairs in their office and we're about to zero fund an entity of their organization, to which they have student leaders applying for and people interviewing for positions right now. And I know they should just be here for the process. You can vote the way you want. I don't want to argue. I am for keeping this continuing for another year, but I think they should be here. I think this is disrespectful to them. They are an agency of student government. They are part of our team. They program spending our money to benefit students. And I think if we're going to do this, they should be here and not get an email from Sarah Bishop that they were zero funded in the budget today and they had no idea, and it was just a smack in the side of the head. And that's what I think this discussion is going toward right now. We're continuing to discuss it. They should be here, have that opportunity, so we're not disrespecting, because now it's disrespectful. Regardless if you agree with me or not, this is a disrespectful process the way this is going right now with the MSC. No one's zero funding CAB right now, zero funding anything like that. We're zero funding an entity of the organization that's in their current constitution. Agree with it or not, I think they should be at the table when we do that. And everyone should be able to say the things they're saying in front of them. And I think that's respectful to them, and that's professional and common courtesy, like professional courtesy. And that's all I want to say. Move to vote.
Not very but we all know it. We have time. Like, the special session doesn't even have to be April 1st. That was a projected date that we chose. Like, we have time. We have 2 weeks past that we can actually have a special session within. And we can bring them in if that's what everyone would like. I didn't think this motion was going to be made today, so I didn't set up a P here. I mean, if I need to go downstairs right now and find his Landy or find somebody, I can do that, and Pope can share the meeting for a couple minutes. I'm fine with that. But even that, I think, is still not that respectful, like, in that sense of it. I don't think it's fair that I have to go downstairs and rip them out of whatever they're doing, because they have staff positions, they have a job. Like, this should be on their schedule. This shouldn't be something that they're like, oh my gosh, they have to run upstairs and they're frantic about. So that's why I'm not like running downstairs to go get them either.
Move to vote.
Is there a motion to vote? Are there any objections? Seeing none. All those in favor of zero funding the MSC funding board? All those against? The vote count of 1 to 10 is fails. Now, on that note, would everyone like me to schedule a meeting for next week and have representatives from the MSC and the MSC funding board here?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Did we already do this?
Yes.
Just what?
Yes, we did already do this. For my sentiments, the vote count was not close when we did this before. Every issue that had a close vote count over the winter break, I made a point of bringing up in the spring. And I look back to the minutes, this is not a close vote count, so I did not think of bringing them back. This is why, like, for example, we reheard the council because their vote count was 5 and 4. The vote count on this, I can't remember it exactly off my head, but it did not spark anything in my mind that I thought we needed to redress. Okay, they'll be here next week. Please have questions prepared. If they come in here and there's no questions, I'm not going to be a nice person. So, it's just Sunday.
Are we gonna allow for them to present again?
No.
Okay.
This isn't even presenting, like, we know the issue at hand, like, whether or not you want the MSC funding board to exist or not. And it's not necessarily that we have to have questions for them, it's just that
There needs to be a point to them.
there needs to be a point of them being here. And if the only point is that it's fair to do it in front of their face, then that's fine, but this is hard for me to speak on because I'm adamantly one way forward, and so it's tough for me. But I just, please make it a point. Please make their reason for coming next week purposeful. Peterson.
I yield my time.
Chisholm.
Yeah, the reason I maintain my solo vote is that I feel what this committee sends to Senate is this committee's recommendation of what they feel should happen, what the budget should be, not who they feel should be present at the time of the vote. It will be brought up in Senate regardless, and that's why I maintained, and I knew the vote was going to go that way, but that's why I maintained my resolve that on my perception of this issue, that is the committee's recommendation. So I would like to remind everyone, in the way they voted, that's what you recommended that Senate should do during a special session. Don't let outside parties influence your voting, ever. Words of wisdom.
Okay, I am glad we talked about it though, and I'm glad we're talking about it again. Because the reason for us even having a conversation was that it is going to get brought up. Like, we know it's going to get brought up. So we need to have this conversation, and whether we bring them in next week, I hope you guys have questions ready for them, because I think a lot of people have, for the most part, made up their mind. So if you're going to bring them in just so you can do it in front of them, that's fine. But I don't perceive this overwhelming amount of questions for them, because we know most of the information. So if you want to bring them here just so they can sit here and watch us do this, great. But I think we have the ability to be able to do this without them being here. If you want them here, great. But there's not going to be questions for them. They're just going to sit here and watch us do it. So if you want to ask them a few questions, fantastic. Please do. But like, I think we've asked a lot of questions over the past few months. And a lot of us have made up our minds on what we want to do. If you're still undecided, great. Bring them in here and ask questions. But I don't want you to think that's what this is going to be when it's not. So.
The point that I was making about asking questions is I'm trying to make a point to all of you. But this has gone back and forth. This is the third time that we have majorly addressed this issue. And it's been every time, I can promise you guys, word for word, debate. Your debate has never changed. Your debate has not changed since Wednesday, December 16th, till now. It's been almost 4 months, and nothing has changed. I don't think any of you have really changed your mind on the matter. Either some of you are staunch one way, you're staunch the other, or you're just really not sure, and you're never going to be sure because, like, some of us, we don't attend the meetings, some of us, we don't know a ton about it, or some of us sincerely, like myself, I don't know exactly how I feel. I think there's pros, and I think there's cons. I don't think I will ever have what I think is the perfect resolution for the MSC funding board. I don't think I have that power. I think it's just something that I don't have the power to understand. I don't think that I will ever understand everything in the world. This is one of those things I just will never fully understand it, and I think it should just be. But, like, so next week they'll be here. Whether or not we have questions or not, they're going to be here when we do it. So don't let anyone change your mind. Don't let anyone influence you. But the understatement is, like, I guess if we want to do it in front of them, that's fine. If it will be done, or it won't be done. I don't know. So, because honestly, I don't know how everyone feels. So, Peterson.
Along the same lines as the comptroller mentioned, it was brought up that this is going to be an issue on the Senate floor. We are the SGA budget committee. What we do is what we do. What the Senate does is what the Senate does. Do not let what possibly could happen on the Senate floor influence your decision based on what we're doing in this room. That is not something you guys should be considering. The Senate will make their decision based on what the Senate sees in the budget, not based upon what we say. Yes, we have a recommendation we say to them, but don't let that influence your decision. You guys are on this committee because you were forced to be part of the budget committee. The Senate approves what the budget committee brings in. We're making changes to it, but don't let that influence your decision. At the end of the day, whether the MSC funding board is here next year or not, things will still work. I've seen it work both ways many times. Okay, so it's a matter of opinion at this point. Which one do you think is more efficient? Which one is a better way for students to get their money? Is what you should be making your decision upon. not whether or not, I guess, the Robert's Rules of Order works, not whether or not the Senate's gonna make a decision based upon something that happens later on down the road. Make your decision based upon what you think is in the best interest of the students.
Was-